It is good day to not be dead. Okay, so I'm sick. I have a lot of things that I want to stream, that I already showed off, but I had choices between another story choices game, and I don't want to do that because that would be boring. Um, there, I could have also done a rage game, but I don't want to yell or be mad. I just want this to be a chill stream. So I'm like, you know what? I've been wanting to replay LittleBigPlanet 1 and 2, but I think it's better off for me just to do this because I don't want to really. I couldn't make up what I wanted to stream today, really. I couldn't figure out because there's a lot of games. I have a huge ass backlog of games that I need to play still. I want to play and stream, but none of them felt like, oh, yes, I'm going to stream that today. I'm not feeling well, so I'm just going to go with a relaxing game. And a game that I've been wanting to replay for like 3 years now, because I platinumed this game. I platinumed 1 and 2 approximately like 3 years ago. Around this time, I'm pretty sure.
Planet Earth. Or as the rest of the Omniverse call it, the Orb of Dreamers. The occupants of which spend so much time asleep and dreaming. Their vast imaginations humming away, charged with creative energy. Where does it all go?
No webcam today.
To a cerebroumbilical cord where it collects and melds with all the other dreamers' energy. And something wonderful happens. It forms a world, an ethereal dreamscape of adventure and possibilities. An abstract plane of beautiful wonderment just waiting to be explored. And you can go there now. On the Little Big Planet.
So unfortunately, I'm just gonna be doing story because, as we all know, the servers for the first 2 games were shut down, and multiplayer online is no longer available.
Or push it all the way to
So
run
just
like
single
your
player.
sacking depends upon it. And don't forget your 3 J's. Jump, jump, jump. Give the action button a short, sharp press for a small hop, or hold it down for a huge, boundy leap. On you go.
Do I have... Oh, I wonder if because I'm playing this... I platinumed this game on a completely different PS3. So I think... I don't even have any of my save data.
Now, you probably want to look stylish and sexy as you're gadding about Little Big Planet. So you need to know how to get your kit on.
Oh, wait.
Or how to put your glad rags on.
No, I have my DLC stuff, but not... poop.
Now, the poppet is the most useful tool since some Swiss bloke welded a knife and a screwdriver together. So let's have
I'm just going default sack.
Use the left. Okay, it's time to shake things up a bit. If you tilt the wireless controller you're holding, you can animate yourself. Press the left stick to alternate between moving your head and your pelvis. You can change your sack person's expressions too, using the directional buttons.
Oh wow, I thought it was right stick. I can't believe this.
Press the up button. Go on. There, see? You're happy. Press the down button and you'll become down. Look at that. A face like a smacked bottom. Press the left button and you go all worried. What was that? Press the right button and you get all cross and tough. By holding down the limb buttons, you can use the sticks to control your arms. Yes, you can stop being mean and moody now. We're all very impressed. Your pod is a cross between your bedroom and your first shed. It's the place you'll chill out in between adventures and excursions, and you can have it exactly the way you want it. The controller, that thing back there, is your pod computer, your inventory and access device. Switch it on by standing in front of it and pressing the menu button. If you were to stand on LittleBigPlanet and try to imagine a more astounding, fantastic, and creative place full of enthralling adventures, uncanny characters, and brilliant things to do, you couldn't. All imagination is here, and what you do with it all is entirely up to you. Build new levels and expand the environment. Collect the many and varied tools and objects to make...
Hey, that's my stream intro sound. What?
Just simply
They stole that from me?
and puzzles they've set. LittleBigPlanet is the manifested embodiment of your perfect dream world. So let fly your imagination with just a touch of the action button.
Yeah, none of my progress. I don't know why I assumed that my progress would transfer over.
It's not that kind of seal. It's a badge.
30 FPS, I'm pretty sure.
To indicate somewhere wonderful.
Yeah, it's 30
a creative
FPS.
curator
Most, if not all, PS3 games run at 30 FPS.
and explore.
There's the very rare moment, like in Infamous 1 and 2, that you'll see that if you look up at the sky when you're like the very tip top of the world, the game will go to 60 FPS. Very rare instances, which is why they really need to port over the Infamous games to PC. That would be a dream come true. Like, both LittleBigPlanet games, like, I'm not even talking about the third. I don't even care about the third anymore. Just, if they could just not... I know that LittleBigPlanet 4 is going to happen eventually. Like, they have to. They already revived Sackboy from the dead. The game was successful. Big Adventure was successful, somewhat. And I think they see the outcry on Twitter, like, every day. They see the amount of interactions that they get daily. So they know that all of us are wanting for LittleBigPlanet 4. And I know it's going to happen. May not be for a long time. I know probably a Big Adventure 2 is going to come out before that even happens. But I know it's going to happen. I'm hopeful. I'm confident it will happen. But it probably just won't be for a long time. But if they could just port these games over, since the servers don't even work. They died. They had to shut them down because some loser wanted to troll, and they thought that well, actually, it was a somewhat good and bad thing that the troller that shut down the servers happened, because it kind of united the community. It united and divided all of us at the same time. And there was the Discord server VC incident that I was a part of. That was that was pretty unforgettable. A lot of things happened in that VC. I kind of wish that somebody recorded it. And there's probably like clips out there, but only a few people. But since this is such a small like community, like very few people are gonna have clips of that. I don't, because I wasn't even thinking about that. That was... I don't even remember when the VC was either. A little bit after the servers
Now,
died, I'm pretty sure.
you're
But
going to get stuck.
a lot of things happened in that VC. Anyway, the troller that killed the servers off kind of did a good and bad thing for the community, because in return we lost the first 2 game servers, online servers, permanently. They shut them down because they could not fix them. They were that old.
Stickers is the height of
Or maybe they I don't know. They could have just said,
to bring up pop
"A, this game is too old for anybody to care about, so we're just gonna, put it down like we should have a long time ago."
peruse and marvel at the sheer overwhelming splendidness of your
Well, you know what? Everything happens for a reason. So I wasn't one of those that played the servers on the old games like every day, so I wasn't that devastated. At the same time, it's like, oh, I really wanted to go back. Like, I wish right now I could go back and play like the most popular community levels, because there were so many classics that are like probably lost to history now. You could probably download them, somebody probably archive them, but that would have to, like, you'd have to mod the PS3 and load them. Yeah, I don't want to mod my PS3. I already have my Steam Deck for all the emulation trolling. Replaying this game is so sad. Like, for so many reasons.
You're very impressive. You must have visited LittleBigPlanet in your dreams many times before, have you? Well, you can either retread your steps and improve your score, or visit this new place you've discovered. Use the left stick to choose whichever option floats your boat.
Playing this game makes me sad. Like, I can't imagine, because I've made it very clear by now that this game was a big part of my childhood and a very big main reason of who I am today. Like, I don't know who I'd be a completely different person if I hadn't played this game back in 2011. Like, that's how important this game franchise is to me. And it sucks that there's a lot of toxicity in the community. There's a lot of high ends and down ends, and it sucks that you can't really play online for the first 2 games anymore. And it kind of sucks too that there's no game like this. Like, you can't recreate this game. And I know that Restitched is gonna come out, and that's probably my most hype game ever. But in the end, I'm setting myself up for disappointment. It is most likely that it's not gonna live up to the hype. I don't know, that's just the pessimist in me, but really, you can't recreate a game like this. It's impossible. And games like this aren't made anymore. Like, this much creativity and love just doesn't exist for games anymore. And yeah, there's God of War. Those games are beautiful, masterfully created, don't get me wrong. But you don't see, like, that's AAA. This, at some point, was AAA. But at the same time, it's like, oh, it's such a small-scale project. Like, it's so simple, is what I'm trying to say. This concept is so simple yet perfect. Like, Media Molecule created such a perfect game engine for, like, young players to engage in creating levels for other people. As much as there was garbage levels, it still, like, let out a spark in so many young gamers, including me, like, to build out your mind. Like, I don't even know how to put it in words, really. Like, do whatever the hell you want in this game. Like, your sky is the limit. Well, really, the limit in this game is the thermometer, but we don't talk about that. If you want to make it, you can make it. And the second game just came along and was the best. And I still think LittleBigPlanet 2 is the best game ever created. Like, there's no gaming experience that has ever come close. The amount of fun and unforgettable moments that I had in LittleBigPlanet 2. That will never, ever be recreated. And that sucks to think about. Like, imagine a game from 2011 to never be outclassed, ever. The only thing that could possibly rival that is LittleBigPlanet 4, but still. Like, the amount of memories as a kid that I've created playing this game, or these games, I mean, is, like, ingrained into my brain. I made so many, like, I don't know, like, most of the things that I remember, I don't know how they happen. It's just so many little bubbles of memory.
Placing decorations.
Like, I remember I had countless friends that I would just randomly, like, randomly join and bully around. Like, at some point, I created because in this game you could slap people, like I'm showing right now. It's so, like, so many unnecessary features in this game that add that amount of charm into it. Like, the emotion controls for the D-pad, completely unnecessary. It adds literally nothing to gameplay. But just because it's here, it makes it so much better. Like, you get what I mean? Like, this, it makes no sense why this would be in a game about creating levels and sharing it with other people. It makes no sense. But that's why it's so good. You can slap people for no reason. There's no combat that there's no mechanic that requires slapping something in any of the games. Same thing with the emotions too. There's no point of those. But you could do them. That's just something you could do. And it's so great. I can never really put into words what these games are. Because I'm not that type of... I guess I'm not that literate to be able to describe my favorite things in the best way possible. I don't know, this is glitched. This is supposed to be making a sound. Oh, there's a new update for this game too. Like, before I streamed it, there was like an update, 1.3. I don't know how recent that update is though. That's probably the recent one where they killed off the servers. But anyway, yeah. These games are special to me. I don't know how else to say it, really.
Nice bit of exploring there, my little chum. Hey, I just had a look at your pod, and you might want to decorate it now. Make it home. Put a bit of your personality into it, or something classy instead. Go nuts. Tap the back button a couple of times to disengage from the pod computer, and use your poppet to begin the decorative proceedings.
And I say that these games can never be recreated because even the same people that made this game made another, how do you say, a game engine, user-generated content game, Dreams. They made Dreams. And while that game is amazing and beautiful in its own way, it's nowhere even close to the charm of this game. Like, I love Dreams. I just wish, you know, every console exclusive could benefit from a PC release, but not every game could get a Steam release. Like, Dreams would benefit so much from any other console exclusive. Dreams would benefit the most because that game uses a lot of mouse input, and you could connect a keyboard and mouse into the PS4, the PS5 to make stuff. But again, you're limited by the power. Oh shoot, you're limited by the power of the PS5 and the PS4. Like, you could imagine the things that you'd be able to create if you had the limits of a more powerful computer and much easier accessibility. And I have a feeling that could happen. Why do I keep dying? I have a feeling that it could happen because look at how long they took to port over Spider-Man to console, and the remastered version too. The one from 2018, like the remastered version came out in 2021, right? No, 2020. 2020. The remastered version came out in 2020, and they only just released in August 2022. Took them in total 4 years for them to port it over to Steam.
A picture can take a magic moment and preserve it forever. And here on LittleBigPlanet...
But a big thing that Dreams is missing is really this multiplayer. Like, you could make anything in Dreams, basically. It's hard, but you can. You have way much more freedom in Dreams than in this game, by a ton. But in no way is it a better game. It doesn't have... It has VR. It has multiplayer, somewhat, I think. I've never even tried out the multiplayer, but you can't do this. There's no real... There's a story mode, which is Art Stream, that I love so much, that I should probably give a replay on stream too, actually, now that I think of it. Art Stream is so good, but it's only like a few hours. Not even. It's like less than 2 hours. It's not. It doesn't have like a full-on campaign like this, and it's intimidating. I think Dreams is much more intimidating than this, for obvious reasons. Like, this is just, you have a sack guy that you can control. You can walk him around. You could use the puppet to place down specific shapes of whatever material you want. You could place down score bubbles. You could place down lava, electricity, gas. You could place down different hazards. You could give logic. Well, that's not to the second game, but you could give like, you can, my point is that you can, like, decide how complicated you want your levels to be, because you can make really amazing the LittleBigPlanet 3 engine, especially. But you get to choose whether you want it to be simple or not. You could just go into your moon, create a level, place down a piece of sponge, and that's it. You could upload the level. Well, you have to include the spawn in the leaderboard, of course, the end of the level. But besides that, you could end it right there. You don't need anything else. For Dreams, while it is low quality for you to do such a thing, like the example that I just gave for LittleBigPlanet, you could do that. It will be boring. It won't be interesting. But it's a start. It could be the beginning to the end, or start to something beautiful for anybody that wants to start, or would have wanted to start making levels on LittleBigPlanet. It was your decision. Oh, I'm missing that. With Dreams, from what I've seen, it is much more intimidating. There's so many buttons, and that's good. I'm glad that Dreams is complicated because you can make so many things in that game engine. But for me, I don't have any desire to make anything on Dreams. Reason 1 being it would take way too much time. Reason 2 being I don't have a real like passion to like go out of my way and spend like countless hours, hundreds of hours making a level on a game that probably nobody's ever gonna play, or not that much people are gonna play anyway. Like look at I mentioned this project so many times before. The Avatar game that Elka Gaming is working on Dreams. He's still working on it. It's been like what? More than 2 years already that he's been working on it. I don't even know how close he is to finishing. I follow him on Twitch and he's always live streaming making the game. And like not to downplay it or anything, but imagine like how many people are really going to be able to play it. And I know that's not the purpose of making levels like, oh, how many people are going to play, like how many likes and things are people going to like, is this really worth it? Like, he should go for it 100%. I can't wait for it to come out, because I'm definitely going to play it when it's complete. But, in reality, how much attention is that going to get? Like, is it going to be worth it in the end? Is what I would be saying if I was making that. It wouldn't be worth my time. It could be worth other people's time, but personally, I wouldn't. I'm already used to, and a third reason being, I'm already used to PC controls. And while I do use a controller like daily still, it's like, oh, I have to learn all of these. I have to learn the game engine. I have to learn like what certain controls do. I have to learn hotkeys and all of that. I have to possibly use a keyboard and mouse to make things easier. I'm not, if it was, even at the same time, like with LittleBigPlanet 3, you're still able to play the game. You can make whatever you want in the game. There's a lot of hurdles you have to jump over to complete a level. And I had a small like window of passion to make levels for LittleBigPlanet in LittleBigPlanet 3. But really, it didn't last that long because there was... For LittleBigPlanet 3, there's many issues that stop you from playing the game. There's the possibility that your profile could corrupt at any random moment. It's still random. You don't know when it could happen. And it could delete all your costumes and a lot of progress. And that's just really... That happened to me, actually, I think. That discouraged me from even opening the game anymore. I don't remember, but I know that LittleBigPlanet 3 isn't worth my time anymore. And it sucks. LittleBigPlanet 3 was supposed to be the pinnacle of LittleBigPlanet, of user-generated levels, the very peak of console exclusives. LittleBigPlanet 3 could have easily been my favorite game of all time, or the best game I would have considered. But we all know what happened with that. Not to say that I haven't had my fair share of great moments playing LittleBigPlanet 3. The story was great. The amount of things you could do in that game were amazing. It's the best in the series, of course. It's supposed to be the best in the series. But it's the server problems, and there's so many glitches and bugs that still exist, and hackers, just so many problems. And a lot of people have learned to look past that and ignore it, but me personally, I can't go back to the game anymore. And really, why should I don't see a point in going back to LittleBigPlanet 3 if they're not going to continue to support the game anymore. It doesn't make any sense to me to like go play the game daily. Dreams 2 for PC would be amazing. Like, what would Dreams 2 even be? Like, Dreams 2 would be like... oh. But Dreams 2 would have to come onto PC. Like, it can't just stay on PS5. For it to reach its full potential, it would need to be on PC, and that would be years. We're talking years of waiting. Did my screen go wider for a second? What the hell was that? Remember when Nintendo tried to do their own dreams, like their own game level maker? What was it called? Game Builder Garage? And they like never gave support to it. But yeah, this game, it never fails to leave my mind, ever. I mean, it never fails to stay in my brain every day. Like, I think about LittleBigPlanet every day still. And that's crazy. Like, I don't play these games daily. Like, I barely touch them. Like, the last time I played LittleBigPlanet was, like, not even, oh shoot. Like, not even... Oh my god. I don't remember. LittleBigPlanet 3... like, last year? During the summer, probably? Like, last summer? Yeah, probably. Anyway. But yeah, for someone that doesn't play the games often and still thinks about it, like, daily, is a crazy thing. Like, it... You have to... Why do I keep dying there? Shoot. I had a brain fart. Hello? Where am I? Oh, I'm gonna climb up here to get this guy. I got him. Alright. I actually had a brain fart. What was I saying? Oh yeah, for somebody that doesn't play the games as often, because I'm comparing myself to the other people in the community that, like, barely play. I mean, that play the game, like, literally daily. And there's still a bunch of people making projects in LittleBigPlanet 3. I think that's fascinating. Like, for a game that's so broken, going out of your way to still make stuff for it, that's awesome. But, yeah, I can never do that. I'd rather focus my resources. Like, I bet you when the 4th game comes out, I'll focus all of my attention to that. Like, every day is going to be LittleBigPlanet 4. Because that's something that I've been wishing for since 2014. And I made a prediction that the sequel for A Big Adventure will have a create mode. And I'll be satisfied enough with that. Like, if they make A Big Adventure with create mode, that's all I need. Like, that will be one successful ass game. I was really hoping that they were gonna release a create mode when they first announced it. Like, I'm like, oh, they're saving it. They're saving it to announce for later. It's gonna be so hype, but they never did. So that only leaves you to assume that they're gonna save it for the second game, right? There's only so much you could do in, like, A Big Adventure was such a good basis for a create mode. Like, I'm surprised that there's no create mode. There's a new mechanic every level in the game. It's like Sumo Digital never left, too. It's like, when I was playing through Sabo for the first time, I was kind of in awe. Like, am I really playing a Sackboy game again? Last time I saw this was in 2013. There hasn't been a new Sackboy game in a decade. Quite literally. I just really hope that they go for a little a create mode for A Big Adventure too, because that would be the most possible and most doable for Sumo to do. So I hope it happens eventually. I wonder why this broke. I think this was a glitch when I was platinuming the game 3 years ago. That's such a weird, that wasn't happening before. Such a specific issue too. Another thing I want to mention is that there's only like a select, well, I wouldn't say a handful. I would say there's a small group of games that have culture. And it's of course every game has a community, but for a game to have, oh shoot. Almost died from the Fernando. A game, it is most common for a game to have a community, of course. Every game has one. But for a game to have culture, that's something else. That's like a huge achievement. And by culture, I mean, for example, I've seen it recently with CSGO. And I've never been like an avid CSGO player. Like I only started playing CS. My first Counter-Strike game was Go in 2019 when they made it free to play. And I've always known about Counter-Strike's existence. Always. Another thing, actually, I mentioned this before. When Shig was still around. The second game came out at the same time when Portal 2 came out. What the hell? I'm inside Fernando. How the hell did that happen? The second game came out around the same time that Portal 2 came out. So there was a lot of memes, like, about the cake is a lie. That meme. I've always seen that meme. Always. In LittleBigPlanet 2. And I never knew where it came from. And it was only until recently when I started playing, when I started replaying Portal games that I realized that that's where the cake is a lie came from. And that's so crazy to think that literally LittleBigPlanet was my introduction to Valve games. Technically. Like literally. It went from one thing to another, that I discovered Gmod, that I discovered what Half-Life was. Like it was such a... That's one of the best domino effects to me, basically. Oh, I thought I could go up there. Oh, well. Oh, I went up the wrong way. Okay. Brain working now? I can't multitask. For a streamer that I've been doing this... By the way, I'm gonna... Next year... Oh, no, not next year. I'm trolling. In 2 years. In 2 years, my channel's gonna be 10 years old. That's unbelievable to think about. That my first YouTube video ever on this platform is gonna be 10 years old in a few years. That is scary to think about, actually. Like, how fast time goes by. By the way, you don't even have to fit it. The stickers, you don't have to fit the stickers on the piece. Like, it's completely unnecessary to do so. As long as you place it onto that little piece. That's all you need to get the prize bubbles. But I do it out of instinct. I've always done that. Always. And I remember seeing on... I can't do this. I remember seeing on Twitter, like a few weeks ago, that LittleBigPlanet 3 was going to be 10 years old. And I couldn't believe it. Like, I couldn't understand. I couldn't fathom that a game that I played 10 years ago is 10 years old. I couldn't believe that's how time works. No, but really, seriously, it doesn't feel like 10 years. Like, I still remember it like if it was yesterday. I remember the exact... I remember LittleBigPlanet 3, fun fact, was the first game that I ever pre-ordered. So that just makes it even more special. But I remember getting out of school, elementary school, 2013, November, I don't remember the exact date, but it was sometime November. In November, I was still in elementary school. First game I pre-ordered, my mom picked me up, and she had already gone to GameStop to pick up the game for me, and she gave me the box, the pre-order, the day one edition of the game, which had this plush. And now I have to show it, just to show that I'm an OG. Oh shoot, my headphones got stuck. Wait, what the? Oh, okay. Can I even show it? Is my webcam bright enough? Let's see. Oh, yes it is. This plush right here, I've kept in pristine condition after 10 years. This plush came with the day one edition of LittleBigPlanet 3, and I've kept it here. Kept it safe for all these years, because that's just how special it is. Even though the game ended up being a piece of doo-doo, it was still special. That's a moment that I will never forget, ever. And it felt like not that long ago that I got home. I also remember that I remember that day so like vividly too. I remember that day we got a new refrigerator too. And I remember having to wait for the refrigerator to be installed to play the game, and I was like dying to play it, and I stayed up so late playing till like the very last level. I'm pretty sure I beat the game in the same day too. And I was obsessed with it. And those are just like, you cannot recreate those moments ever. Like, you're only a kid once. And it's kind of sad to think about that. I'm already a legal adult. Like, you think that this guy right here can drive and drives himself to school every day, to college every day? It feels almost impossible. Like, sometimes life is just unreal. Unreal Engine reference, lol. But I'm still kind of trying to grasp reality every day. Like, I got my license like not even 2 months ago, and I'm already driving myself to school every day. I got my license 9 months ago. I got my Valve Index 9 months ago too. I got my Steam Deck a little more than a year ago already. Like, these are things that you don't realize go by so fast. Like, these moments already happened. It's so weird to think about. Oh, I wonder. Wait, did I miss it already? There's a part in this level where there's a strip club. I remember this part so well. There's a strip club, a weasel strip club. I don't know why this isn't even in the game, so we'll see right here. I don't know how they were allowed to do that either. This is a kid's game. Why did they allow... Is it over here? It's somewhere over here. I'm gonna speedrun this. Wait, is it here? I think it's the two... No, it's not here. It's not this part. It might not be this level now that I think of... we'll see. It's this. It has to be this one because this is the weasel level. Oh, I can't go up there. Is it this part? Yes, it's this part. It's this part. It's this part. Oh, never mind. No, I'm wrong. It's this part. Here? I said I remember it very well, but I'm not showing so. It's this part. It's this part. The Weasel Strip Club. Yes, it was a two-person thing. I knew it. I was right. My memory didn't fail me today. Why would it's very you can barely tell, but you can when you pay attention you can see what it's supposed to be. Another thing about this game. Oh, I forgot I was talking about culture. I was talking about video game culture. I'll go back to that, but the reason why I still think about this game like day to day is because, well, first of all, I have the entire soundtrack. The entire soundtrack for this game is fantastic. Like, literally perfect. Every track in this game is perfect. It is so catchy. It could be... I know I'm biased. That childhood sounds are gonna sound good to you. And may not sound good to other people, but still. Oh shoot, did I... But every track sounds so good. And I listen to the soundtrack almost every day now. And the thing is with this game, it's licensed music too. It's like, it's a perfect blend of licensed and original soundtrack music. It's so good. And this is British people. Can you believe British people have good taste in music? That's in like this game did the impossible, literally. I say that, but literally my two favorite bands of all time are British, so don't cancel me. I made that joke knowing that Gorillaz and the Beatles are my two favorite bands ever. It just came out of my mouth for some reason. The cable's getting stuck on the controller again. You should be fully charged now, right? Right? Okay, yeah, it is. And we'll see later that how good the soundtrack is because there's a Hindu there's a Hindu section of there's also this part, the Mexican wedding. Just every part of this game is so good. I can't pinpoint like an exact part because I just go on a tangent talking about something else and why the game's amazing. Like this entire world is a Mexican wedding. And the bride is called Frida. Like how do you come up with this? I think actually what's playing right now is probably the fan favorite. Like this track this is a licensed song too. This is like probably, if you were to play this track for people that play LittleBigPlanet, they'd say that this is their favorite or the best sounding song from the soundtrack. And I think so too. This song is so great. And it's all in Spanish too. It's so 2008. Like, I don't know about you, but I'd rather, if we could live back in the 2000s, early 2000s to late 2000s again, we should create a time machine to just go back to the early 2000s. Forget the 70s, the 80s, the 90s. I could care less. I wasn't alive during those times. I want to go back to these times. Like, the 2008 aesthetic was so different. Can I get high enough for this? Okay, I'm not getting enough high. I don't know why I'm going for prize bubbles, by the way. I've 100% this game like twice already. I don't know how that happened, but whatever. I can remember what the next world is. There's like I was saying, there's a Hindu world, like part of the story, and it's just a guy chanting. It's literally just a guy chanting religious sounds. And it's such a banger. Like, I don't know how. Like, I unironically listen to it. Like, I will go out of my way, since I have Spotify Premium, I go out of my way to play that track. And see if I make it far enough to play it. There's the previous level with the savannah, like the savannah sounding sound. I don't even know how to describe the sounds that I was hearing, but they're like very jungle-y noises, like very African savannah noises, and it sounds so good. Here I go again, going for the... Oh, shoot. Wait, did I just... Okay. And I've only talked about, like, the sound... So far, I've talked about the soundtrack, the story levels, the time that it was at the era. The era of these games, like the PS3, Xbox 360... Wii era, like what a time it was to be alive playing these games. Like, expectations were low. Well, not low, but you know, they aren't like expectations, like gaming expectations that we expect today. Like, video game expectations, for me at least, are literally impossible. Like, my expectations for a game, for me to be interested in playing a game, are like masterpiece level. If the game's not a masterpiece, I don't want to play it. Like, that's how my taste in video games have sort of ruined my backlog. Because if you look at my backlog, I had to make a Google Drive for my backlog. Growing up on LittleBigPlanet, Minecraft, a little bit of Halo, COD, like playing all of those like classics, and playing almost close to masterpieces and 2 masterpieces takes a toll on your expectations when going into a new game. Like, if I grew up playing Kingdom Hearts, I'd be playing every game. Like, I'd love every game. And that's the hard truth. No offense to Kingdom Hearts players, but if that's what I set my bar to, then let's just say I would be buying and playing every game. And I haven't even... I'm going out of my way to not mention Nintendo, but anyway. Yeah, then I spent my days playing so much, like, Wii Sports Resort... Oh, shoot. Well... Playing Wii Sports Resort and a new Super Mario Brothers Wii and this and LittleBigPlanet 2 and Infamous. Like, of course I'm gonna like want to go. I'm gonna expect the bare minimum and some more. Because if I played those games and I enjoyed them as a kid, why should I think any lower? Why should I? Oh, poop. And I think the only game that's gotten that close to like being so good was Isaac. And I've said this like a bunch of times before. The last game that made me feel good that I played it was Isaac. Like, I was instantly addicted to Isaac. But I'm so bad. Can you believe that I platinumed this game? How I literally, you know what the platinum for this game requires? Beating every single story level without dying once ever. For 3 games. I did that for 3 games, by the way. And I can't get past this simple jump part. That's amazing. I have the last time. Oh my god. I don't know what I'm doing. See, I can't multitask. If I talk, I'm gonna suck at the game. Hey, this is why I don't stream often, because if I talk, my brain is just gonna shut down and die. I wasn't even going for that, and I got it anyway. But yeah, back to when I was saying about video game culture, what I've realized the pattern with certain games, and there's a lot of, you know what I've realized too? It's a lot of with the Valve games, with Portal and Half-Life. Those games have cult followings. Like, Half-Life 1 came out more than 20 years ago. And do you know how many people still talk about Half-Life? How many people still make mods for the original game? Here in 2023, people still talk about Half-Life and playing the game like if it was brand new. Like, that's just how good those games are. And there's certain games, like I've said, mostly with Valve games, that have cult followings that people still talk about no matter how old they are. And I think Valve is just that good at making timeless classics. Like, I'm not one of those like hard devout Valve fans. Like, I'm a jack of all trades. Like, I love every Valve franchise except for Dota. But Portal and Half-Life and TF2 and CS, those games are special. So special that they have people still talking about them still. And with CSGO came out in like what, 2013? Wait, I didn't even realize that. Wait, was it 20? No, it was 2012. 2012, August 21st, 2012. CSGO came out literally 11 years ago. And yeah, Valve has been updating the game constantly, but the Counter-Strike has been around for like more than 20 years. And people, more than ever, are interested in playing Counter-Strike. Do you see... Have you gone to SteamDatabase.com and have you seen the player count on CS still? Not just CSGO, but on like Source on 1.6 and the original game. Those numbers are insane. And those games are so old. That's just so great to see. Like, if more developers were focused on making an actual good game, people would be, you know, putting their money where it deserves to be. And that's why many people like myself like to complain about, oh, games aren't as good as they were before. Oh no, don't tell me I'm gonna keep dying here at the end too. The era, I say the years between 2011 and 13 are like the best years of gaming. And I think we're kind of getting a little renaissance right now. How did I fall through that? I think we're kind of building our way back up to those games because there are so many good games coming out this year that came out this year and are going to come out this year. 2 examples, Mario Wonder, which is going to be the best 2D Mario game ever, by the way. Mario Wonder and Spider-Man 2. Those 2 games alone make 2023 one of the best years in gaming. Like, it's reaching 2011 to 2012 levels again. And I'm hoping that next year could keep it up, too. I forgot what games are coming out next year, but we'll see. We'll see. There's not even... We'll see what games get announced next year, too. But, yeah, CSGO has a player count of 800k right now. You know what the peak player count was a few months ago? The peak player count was 1.8 million players playing the game at the same time. And that was the top player count just a few months ago when CS2 was announced. Can you imagine 1.8 million people playing a game at the same time? Like, what was Fortnite's top player count? I don't even know. There are so many people that still play Portal games, like the Portal story, like if it's a brand new game for the 1000th time. And those games are just have infinite replayability. Oh, I was about to say the song almost ended perfectly with the level. Fortnite has 15 million? Really? It was now 15 million. Like, that's believable. It is believable because Fortnite was literally probably. Oh man, I'm not gonna start talking about Fortnite anyway. Certain games have cultures, which is what I was trying to say originally. Games like CS:GO or CS in general, Counter-Strike, LittleBigPlanet, Half-Life, TF2. Those games have cult followings that no matter how old they are timeless. And people will be replaying them until the end of time. People will be... Those kids that grew up playing those games are going to show their kids and have them play those games. And their kids are going to have their kids playing those games. Those games are going to live immortally. Forever. And that's just awesome to think about. While LittleBigPlanet is not even close to other games that have cult followings. That just shows how special these games were. Because with the small community, I'd say we're less... Because if we go... I don't remember the numbers exactly, but there was... Now I have to search it up. The player count for LittleBigPlanet 1, not at the same time, but almost 12 million people played the third game, not the first game, the third game. 12 million people have played that game. And it kind of sucks. I'm bothered sometimes when people like mention LittleBigPlanet as like, oh yeah, I remember that game. Like, yeah, I played that game when I was like, what, like 13, like forever ago. Never touched it ever again. Like, LittleBigPlanet, it's like an afterthought. It's always been, it still is an afterthought. Like, people know what Sackboy and LittleBigPlanet is, but they don't give beyond that thought. They know about it, but they don't think about it. And it kind of sucks. I wish it wasn't like that. No, get on. He's gonna crush me. I want to get these stickers. Ah. Ooh, I made it. Okay. Like, I wish I could describe in full detail. Like, a few years ago, in 2020, when I streamed LittleBigPlanet 3, I wanted to make wow. He stole my dog. Silly collector. I wanted to make a retrospect video on these games. And I don't think I have anywhere close to... I think about it every day. Like, what if I made that video? But there's so many other people that have made that video that I wanted to make. So I'm like, what's the point? I shouldn't... If I'm going to make one, it's not going to be as good as these other people's. Like, Blazing Big Tinny already made one for, like, every game in the series. So why should I? I already talk about enough how special these games are to me, specifically. And in no way ever, I don't think I could ever, like, fully describe how impactful these games were. Like, my vocabulary is not big enough for that. This game introduced me to horror. These games introduced me to horror games. Basically everything. Like, I heard about... Well, I wouldn't say I heard about everything that I know today from LittleBigPlanet, but I'd say most of my... Like I said earlier, the Portal and Valve introduction is from this game. I got into horror games because of this game, because there's a lot of horror levels. There was Chucky levels, there was Friday the 13th level, there was Nightmare on Elm Street levels. There were so many unique and fun horror levels. And those were always my favorite type of levels for these games. Always. It was always horror levels. I remember this series, and I mentioned this before, I'm pretty sure. There was a series of... There's this creator, I forgot his name, but there was... He made a series of levels of Chucky levels, and I was absolutely terrified of Chucky. Like, at that time, I was... Like, if you showed me a picture of Chucky, I'd piss my pants. What am I missing? My dog? Oh, you. What? I didn't see you. Completely forgot about you. Yeah, the horror levels for these games were so good and so memorable. The Chucky levels that I was saying, I was so terrified of Chucky at that time. Like, he was my top one. Like, if anybody, if I wish could not come to real life and hunt me down, I did not want it to be Chucky. Like, the Child's Play movies terrified me for the longest time. But you know what? The levels of Chucky and Child's Play, all those levels that were on LittleBigPlanet, I played them. I played the hell out of them. And I was terrified of Chucky, so how does that... There's a lizard on my wall. Oh my god! That lizard has been here since yesterday. Buddy, I thought you died. I don't know, he was crawling down yesterday. I don't know why he made his way back up. But yeah, can you imagine, like, being a 8-year-old kid, being terrified of this killer murderer doll, possessed doll, but loving the hell out of the levels made of him on a game? Like, it shouldn't make sense, but it That's just how my upbringing was. And that's where I was introduced to Jason Voorhees. I was introduced to Freddy Krueger. All those horror icons I learned from this game. This game was basically my pop culture teacher, basically. If I have kids, I want this to be their first game. And for the longest time I was saying, if you were to introduce somebody to video games, what would you have them play? What would you have them play first as their first game? And for the longest time I would say Minecraft, because Minecraft is universal. Anybody can play Minecraft. Minecraft is just that simple. And as boring as shit as it is to me nowadays, I still think so. I still think so. That Minecraft is the most universal game ever. It is so simple. It's a survival game made out of blocks. You hit trees, you make stuff, you fight things, you mine, and that's it. You can go beyond that, but really you don't have to. That's just the basic understanding. And there's so many like things only Minecraft players would understand too. But also, it's a perfect first game. But really, if I were to have anybody like a little baby or like a kid, like a 6-year-old kid, play their first game, they just got let's just say they have a certain amount of money. And it just so happens to be that they have enough to buy a PS3 and a copy of LittleBigPlanet 1. This should be their first game. This game introduces so many concepts, but obviously not at its current state. Like peak LittleBigPlanet is what I would recommend for somebody to play, which is not possible. But before, I'm saying if there was still online access and like the thriving community playing, then yes. Everybody, this should have been their first game. I think everybody should have a chance to have played this game at its peak. And it's kind of unfair that that will never happen. That really sucks to think about. But, yeah. This is the perfect. This is more perfect than a first game. Like, introduction to online play, introduction to making friends online, introduction to creativity, introduction to platforming, introduction to anything. That's why I will forever argue and fight for this game's respect. LittleBigPlanet is still overlooked. It's not underrated because the people that played the games, anybody that's played the games will see that instant 10 out of 10. It's what makes it overlooked. The same thing for Infamous too. Basically, most of what I'm saying for this game applies to Infamous too, because both are revolutionary games. Like Infamous was the first superhero game that I played. And I was obsessed with it. Like, for the longest time, I wanted to shave my head. I wanted electrical powers. I wanted to electrocute myself. I wanted to explode myself with a bomb and get electrical superpowers. That's just how influential those games were to me. And I do want to replay Infamous. It was either this or Infamous, and I think LittleBigPlanet, since it's more relaxing. Yeah, I'll probably do Infamous next time I stream. But anyway, where was I? Yes. Those games were just so unique. Like there was the Arkham, there was the Batman games, and there was a butt ton of Marvel games, but they weren't good. There's been so many superhero games that haven't even come close to what Infamous has accomplished. And I think probably Infamous is more overlooked than LittleBigPlanet, because LittleBigPlanet, since it's such a simple concept, it's more easier to understand it. It's been more accessible. And also, LittleBigPlanet was sort of like the Mario. That's what I've heard before. People say that this was the Mario to Sony and PlayStation. That if you wanted a platformer, that LittleBigPlanet was your go-to. And that's all people thought of it as, like, oh, it's just you know, not as good as Mario comparison. You know, this is PlayStation's Mario copy, basically. It's not even close. Like, Mario wish it could be as good as these games. Like, that's why I'm saying this game was my Mario Maker 2. Before Mario Maker 2. Because I wasn't able to play Mario Maker 1. I didn't have a Wii U at the time. So, this was my... Not just my Mario Maker, but this was my... Make your own levels, share with other people, and play with your friends type game. Time to blow up a bank. Oh, we don't blow it up yet. Wait, yeah? No? Wait, do I have to grab him to blow it up? No, you just fart. What? I don't remember you farting. How do I get your bombs? I know there's a bomb. Oh, I was supposed to drag it, wasn't I? Oh, well. I just really hope that one of these days, whether it's a LittleBigPlanet 4, a Saba 2, or maybe even a remaster, which is not... I don't know how possible a remaster of these games would be, or remakes, rather. Like, how possible would that be? Would that happen? Ah, poop. Why not? No, don't do that. Wait. Oh, shoot. I'm gonna blow myself up. Woo! That almost blew up. And I said I wanted to stream this game because it was relaxing, and this is the opposite. Like, one of the hardest levels... Oh, shit. One of the hardest levels is in this world. I remember spending so much time on one of... I think it's the next one. I think it was this one, too. This one was a real pain in my ass. Like, this game, it could be so frustrating to platinum. And could you say that... Oh, shoot. Could you say that... I mean... I don't know. I think this game was revolutionary. Sort of like how Half-Life 2 was. Because the thing is... What this and Half-Life 2 have in common is the physics. Like, they have game-changing physics. I don't remember what I have to do here. This. Oh, it's 2-player. That's why I can't do it. Duh. I mean, the physics engines for both games are like amazing. Like, can you imagine developing a realistic physics, like the gravity, like to make this bomb swing? I have zero experience making games, so I wouldn't know. But for this time, like Half-Life 2 was 2004, the same year of my birth. And this game was 2008, just 4 years later. So I guess, you know, well, yeah. I guess Half-Life 2 did it first. And how the fuck? Wait, how did I explode there? Excuse me? Never mind, this game sucks. How did I explode? I know I made a hole already, but... Now, you could say that this game was revolutionary, and it didn't get it at the time. It did get attention, like a bunch of attention, but that was because, like I said, it was a Mario copy. Like, oh, this is Sony's Mario. This is what's gonna kill Mario. No, nobody was thinking that. Yeah, it was just an afterthought. Really sucks that people won't ever be able to see the full potential of Sackboy. Maybe with a Big Adventure 2, hopefully. But in the end, it doesn't really matter, because if a LittleBigPlanet 4 happens or a Sabbath 2 with create mode, I'd be happy, because that would revive the community, basically. Because right now we're in a drought. Everybody's either playing LittleBigPlanet 3 or speed running a Big Adventure, because a Big Adventure is still getting updates, just costume updates though. They're not real updates, they're just cosmetic updates for free, which is great. But the reason I say that Sackboy 2 is more likely to happen, because they keep updating the game, they keep adding DLC. So, and it has online play already, it has online co-op, and you could, if you wanted to, there's local co-op and there's online co-op. So why would they keep adding DLC from... By the way, there's a lot of first-party DLC, like a bunch of costumes from God of War, Uncharted, all those. So why would they be adding all that DLC if there wasn't going to be a second game with possibly a lot more features, possibly a create mode? Like, I can't see a universe where it doesn't happen. It makes so much sense. Because a Big Adventure really was a test. Like, it was Sumo Digital dipping their toes in the water to see, do people still care about Sackboy? Even though they do very well know that people do. But it was sort of a test to see if it would become... What? Well... It was a test to see if it could become mainstream, I guess. But I would say it was kind of a flop. Like, a Big Adventure was kind of a flop twice, because it released the same day as Miles Morales, and that's where everybody's attention was focused, and that kind of killed the hype. It didn't kill it for me, because obviously I streamed them both at the same time, and I did that duo... that stream event thing. But all the attention that Sackboy could have had was towards Miles at that time. And by the time that, you know, the hype died down, it's like, oh, yeah, you guys remember that Sackboy game, that LittleBigPlanet game that came back on PS5, right? Oh, shoot. Yeah, it's a pretty good platformer. It's a decent platformer. But now that I think of it, is Dreams more popular than Sackboy Big Adventure? sort of in a way, because, well, Dreams has an online community of creators, so of course it's going to be more popular, but the IP isn't. Dreams is brand new. It's a brand new IP, like brand new game that's never been done before. That, I mean, has been seen before. LittleBigPlanet has been around for a decade earlier. A decade earlier than Dreams. But the other game has a larger player base. But then again, there's also a lot of Dreams players that are LittleBigPlanet. I don't know, if you go to Dreams, you see a lot of LittleBigPlanet recreates, a lot of remakes of like the first LittleBigPlanet level. A lot of Sackboy levels. So not a majority, but a lot of Dreams players are most likely LittleBigPlanet people too. So if I could have one or the other, Dreams 2 or Sackboy 2 or LittleBigPlanet 4, my hopes really, if, you know, this is what I think. If Sackboy 2 could be bigger, because Sackboy: A Big Adventure by itself has a lot of content. It has a big story. It's like 12 hours long? I don't remember. Oh, I had to restart the level. Well, I fucked up. Anyway, Sackboy: Big Adventure alone is a big game. It's filled with content. It has a bunch of cosmetics, free cosmetics, by the way. You don't see a lot of that anymore, right? It's it has local and online co-op. It has a lot of extra levels. It has post-game content. And what is rarely mentioned, it has tournaments too. It has in-game tournaments. I've never participated in them, but there, if you wanted to, the Knit and Night trials, there's PlayStation tournaments for, they actually do rewards too for those if you get like a certain place. I've never participated in them because I didn't even know that was happening. I don't think that I'm that good at platforming in the game anyway, so but yeah, that's really cool. A Big Adventure by itself is an amazing game. Very underrated. And if they were to do a sequel for A Big Adventure with a create mode, with the intention of focusing more on UGC, user-generated content, like a LittleBigPlanet game, I think I would rather that much, much more than LittleBigPlanet 4. I would take that. Because, really, to redo another LittleBigPlanet game would be returning back to 2.5D platforming after already showing that you can do 3D platforming in a spin-off game. It doesn't really make sense. Now, I know I said that a LittleBigPlanet 4 is going to happen. I know it's going to happen. But just not for a long time. But it may not even be named LittleBigPlanet 4. It could just be something completely different, like Sackboy 2. And that's what I would much rather hope for. I think I'd rather, because, to be honest, everybody prefers 3D over 2D these days. Now, I love 2D games forever and ever. But if you want more people, a larger group of people to be interested, you want it to be 3D, right? So I think a Sackboy 2 with create mode would be the way to go. And it makes so much sense. It makes so much more sense because there's no 2D sections in Saba, now that I realize. If there was, it's barely rememberable. But there is barely any 2D sections. in A Big Adventure. So that gives another opportunity for the sequel to have 2D sections, because you have a mainly 3D game with 2D sections. Like how I'm gonna compare it with Mario Odyssey. Mainly a 3D game with a few 2D parts. But the way Mario Odyssey did it was very clever. They did it with like the 8-bit style, like classic style. Hold on. Oopsies. Okay. Back what I was saying. Yeah. A Big Adventure 2, I would much more rather. Because in LittleBigPlanet in 2, there was a lot of levels that people somehow figured out a way to make 3D levels inside of a 2D game, and it was genius. And it worked so well. So many people did it very well. So, A Big Adventure 2 could do the inverted version. 3D main game with 2D sections, which is much easier to do. So I'm very hopeful for the future. There's also Restitched, which I have no idea when that's going to come out. They don't even have a confirmed release date. But in the meanwhile, hopefully when it comes in the next 2 years, I think by then it should be out. I jumped straight into that. I think by then... Why do I keep jumping straight into that? I think by then Restitched should be out in like 2 to 3 years. Maybe less than 2 years. I haven't checked the latest update that they showed, but the game just feels like it's near completion. Or like a launch state, really. And now, really, what like I like but don't like and have mixed feelings about today in the video game industry is open betas and alphas and all early access, those types of things. While playing a game early does sound good, is a way for AAA developers, publishers, to use it as an excuse that, oh, if a game releases bad, then we'll just fix it in a bunch of other updates in the future. That's really lazy, and it's really annoying because that's what a lot of people are doing nowadays. That's sort of what happened with Mortal Kombat too. The game released, it didn't release terribly at all. I think it released decent. It released completely fine, but it did have performance issues. There's no FPS unlocker, so the game is mostly at 30 FPS, except for in fights. There was Jedi Survivor that released badly. Though it had a lot of performance issues, I didn't find as a problem because the game was still playable. The performance issues was really trying to get over 70 FPS. poop. Those aren't real performance issues. Real performance issues is like Cyberpunk and the way Cyberpunk released. And I don't get why people like forgave CD Projekt Red for that. Like a lot of people are like, "Oh, Cyberpunk is so good. If you look beyond the bugs, the game is fucking amazing. It's a masterpiece, best game in 1,000 years." Like, no. I like to hate on Cyberpunk because the way they launched and hyped up the game was unacceptable. That's scummy, the way that they did it about. And it pisses me off more that... Wait, what? Oh, shoot. I forgot about this part. If you... What it pisses me off is what they're doing is that they're releasing a $30 paid DLC for a game that launched like shit. No disrespect to all the people that worked on the game, but the way the game launched, like the base game launched, is unacceptable. Like the least they could have done is release the DLC for free. For the longest time, the game was unplayable on PlayStation. You couldn't even buy it. They unlisted the game. The game was completely unplayable on PlayStation. Can you imagine a AAA game unplayable on a major gaming platform? How, in what world is that acceptable, guys? Like, let's be real here. That's why I like to hate on Cyberpunk. I played it once, never again. And that was after, because I didn't pre-order the game. I mean, I did pre-order the game, but for PlayStation. And we saw how that went down. My brother, when he played the game, I mentioned this before, he got soft-locked. He couldn't beat the game. He couldn't beat the game. He couldn't play the game. He got soft-locked in, like, the early stage of the game. In, like, the first chapter of the game. It was like the first mission with the guy, the Mickey? I forgot his name. The guy that speaks Spanish. Whatever his name was. After that first mission with him, he got soft locked and he couldn't do anything. The game was literally unplayable. He uninstalled it. We tried everything. We searched it up, nothing. He was just soft locked. It was a one in a billion fluke that just happened to be one of the billions of other bugs that people have encountered. Releasing a game like that is embarrassing, and I'm glad the people that still meme on it still happens, but CD Projekt Red, I don't like how most of the gaming community treats it. They're like, "Oh, maybe I should give it another chance. Hey, maybe it's like another No Man's Sky." No Man's Sky shouldn't be an excuse to give games another second chance. That should be the bare minimum. Like, a game pulling a No Man's Sky should be, oh, yes, it was only a matter of time until it happened. And how long has Cyberpunk been out already? 3 years? And it just now got a 2.0 update where the game isn't broken anymore? And I don't care. It's a little too late, buddy, for me to get me to play your game. If you want other people, well, it may work for other people, but it's not going to work for me. If I'm going to play the game again, I'm going to pirate it. And I'm going to admit that. Okay, because I like to emulate games. I own games that I emulate, but if there's a game that I think is not worth my money and the company sucks, like Nintendo, I'm not going to buy your game. I'm not going to support you. And I hope that you take into consideration, yeah, it may just be me in a solo number, but I hope you know that there's hopefully quite a bit of people like me that will see your game. Oh, okay, this was the level I was talking about earlier. That took forever for me to ace because it was so annoying. Yeah, but anyway, I'm going off on a tangent. I'm playing LittleBigPlanet talking about how garbage Cyberpunk was. Can you believe that? Yeah, I'm not gonna play Cyberpunk. I'm not planning to play Cyberpunk. I could easily pirate it, but that's just how uninteresting the game was. The first time and the second time I tried to play it. Like, I literally gave it a second chance. I gave it a second chance, like on PC, not even on PlayStation or a console. I pirated the game, on my PC like probably 2 years ago to give it another chance when I got my 3070 for the first time. Yeah, it was 2 years ago. When I got my 3070 at first, I gave it another chance and I didn't like it. The game was boring as hell. The game didn't perform well on a 3070 somehow. And I had it on low settings. The game was running like shit. I don't know how or why. Could be just be my PC, but that's not even my problem. My problem is that the game was boring as shit. Like, it's just an uninteresting game. Like, I don't even get what it's supposed to be. It's like, okay, yeah, it takes place in the future. It's a game where you can shoot guns. You can upgrade your character. It's about a dystopian future where everybody, you know, relies on mechanical upgrades and robotic upgrades to look cooler and do stuff better. But the story is just so uninteresting. Like, the dialogue is so boring. And I like story games. You can't tell me... I'm not like one of those Dark Souls players or like one of those FPS players that say, oh, this game is boring as hell. What is God of War? Like a movie? God of War is a movie, not a game. The hell? I'm refunding this piece of shit. Like, there's a lot of people that say that. And I'm not one of those. I love God of War. Ah, poop. Oh, I didn't die. God of War, 2018 and... Whoo! 2018 and Ragnarok. Beautiful games. One of the best. One of the best PlayStation exclusives to date. But, yeah. So, I'm interested in a story that a game is going to tell. If it's interesting and fun enough, I'll try my best to enjoy it. But if it's like Kingdom Hearts level of uninteresting and stupid and bad, then I'm not interested in it. It's like playing... it feels like I'm actually playing this game for the first time. I suck so bad. But yeah, I just want to go on a little rant. I really hate how Cyberpunk was dealt with. You know what's crazy too? Like, I don't even have that much of a personal connection to it either. I said when it first... I remember when I streamed it on PlayStation, I said, I don't care if there's bugs. I don't care if there's game-breaking bugs either. I'm just trying to enjoy the game to its fullest possibility. And I don't care that there's funny bugs. For me, bugs never usually ruin the game for me. But if it's to a point where I literally cannot play the game, or if it's stupid enough, I'm not going to play your game. Or I'm not going to continue to support your game anymore. That's just how it is for me. And I gave CD Projekt Red a chance to redeem themselves. Twice. And they fucked it up. And I'd even have a personal connection to it. When it was first announced, I didn't even know. I didn't know what Cyberpunk was when they showed off gameplay. That stream with Orpals that I uploaded. I didn't even know what Cyberpunk was beforehand. That was the first time I ever saw something about Cyberpunk. It was until after that I searched up what Cyberpunk was, and I saw the first E3 trailer for it. I'm like, hey, this game looks kind of cool. But why is it taking 7 years to come out? Like, that too. Like, when you think about Cyberpunk's garbage launch, you have to think, this game was in development for 8 fucking years. What the hell were you guys doing? The game isn't even that big either. Isn't the story like a few hours long? Like, just a little more than 10 hours long? How much? What were people doing? You guys are not Valve. Like, that's what another thing, that game developers think that they're Valve. That they could take their sweet ass old time, they could show off a game. And that's the thing too, Valve doesn't even show off their games. They don't confirm anything. They drop it when they drop it, and they do it like how they do with CS2. I'm a little upset about CS2, but whatever. Anyway, You guys showed off your game 8 years ago, and this is how you guys release it? Like, come on. That's... You guys make how much money? You guys are a multi-million, billion game company, and you guys can't afford to launch it at a decent state? Like, games get, like, a game gets a round of applause for launching decently, like with the bare minimum. I'm happy with Mortal Kombat 1. I'm not even upset like how other people are with no like unlocked FPS, the performance issues. Like, I don't even have a problem with that because it's not as bad, because it will never be as bad as Cyberpunk. That's how that's how bad it is. And I'm kind of glad that Cyberpunk had like a negative impact on the industry. It's kind of like it was a bad domino effect at the same time. It's a mixed bag. Some games will take into consideration how Cyberpunk released, and some will be like, okay, let's do exactly what they did. Let's fuck it up too. Like let's do it even worse how they did, actually. Like, we can do it worse, guys. But yeah, with what I said with Jedi Survivor, I don't think launched that bad. The game was most definitely still playable. 100% it was still playable. There was consistent crashes that I was getting. At one point, the game crashed, and I had to redo it like an entire mission. But that's about it. That's probably the only game breaking bug. Like, there's other people that said that their game broke, or I mean their save data corrupted. Like, that's pretty bad, but that didn't happen to me, luckily. But I don't think Jedi Survivor launched so bad that it ruined like any chance of the game. I still think Jedi Survivor is one of the best games that came out this year. Like, of course, nowhere near Spider-Man or Mario Wonder. I mean, come on. But I love Jedi Survivor. It was such a good game. The story was so... Like, I think I would go out of my way to defend Jedi Survivor because I loved the story. It was so good. And the gameplay, how they improved every single aspect that I didn't like about Fallen Order, they fixed. And it was done so well. The only issue being that the game didn't perform well. So I'll defend Jedi Survivor until I guess, I don't know, whenever it's brought up. Where am I going? Hello? Oh, I can't go this way. Bruh. I was not sure. And surprisingly, something that I never thought Nintendo would bother to do is launch a game in a broken state. Like, when I think of Nintendo, I like to hate on Nintendo a lot. And they deserve it. A bunch. And I really wish people would hate on Nintendo more. But when you think of Nintendo, like, every time you think of Nintendo, you think of polished games. At least on my part. Every time I think about Nintendo games, I'm expecting a decent experience. Like, at the least. Like, I will not expect any Nintendo game to be broken. Their games always had released with polish. There would rarely be game-breaking bugs, ever. And then came out Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. How the hell did they let that happen? Like, that doesn't make any... I'm gonna ignore that. How did they let that happen? Like, Nintendo has such a good track record with releasing games in a perfect state. And then, well, obviously Nintendo is a separate developer department than Game Freak, but they still look over development. They're the publishers. Game Freak is them. So there's play testing involved. There's double checking. There's all sorts of processes. I don't even know those processes, but I know that they happen. Somebody has to look at the game before it releases and be like, okay, this game is ready to go. But how did they look at Pokemon Scarlet and Violet and be like, okay, let's release this game now? How did that even happen? That confuses me so much. And then, unfortunately, Nintendo isn't shy away from having some bad games. Like, there has been bad games, but not, bug-wise, forgettable-wise. There has been, like, mediocre Nintendo games before. But I just feel like Nintendo recently has been, like, half-assing their stuff. Right? Like with Splatoon, well, I mean, Splatoon was never really good in the first place. Cold take. But anyway, what they did with Splatoon 3 was so bad. Like, I wasted $60 on that garbage. Like, I played it for consistently for like, what, 2 weeks and then never touched it ever again. Like, it was so boring and uninteresting. Like, I don't even get that bored with COD games either. Like, with Modern Warfare 2, I at least enjoyed the game for like a month and a half. And that's a pretty long time for me for a game to keep me that interested. Like, with a game as repetitive as COD that I've been playing for literally a decade already, keeping me to play for like over a month, 2 months. But then Nintendo does it and they fuck it up in like less than a week. How? How is that even possible? They released Game Builder Garage. Dead game and like literally dead on arrival. Like 2 YouTubers made videos on it and then it never popped off. ARMS. ARMS was such a good idea. That's an example of a good game without like popularity or support. Like, they barely gave it content. 1-2 Switch, bad game that should have been included with the Switch. It's just such an uninteresting game. Animal Crossing, that is so heartbreaking. Animal Crossing, a series that's been around since the GameCube. A game that was the most downloaded Switch game during quarantine ever died after 2 seasons. How was that even possible? Like, I stopped playing the game after like 3 months, 2 months. And they barely updated it. And what do? They release a DLC that adds content that should have been in the base game for free. $30 a year after the game came out. That doesn't make any sense. Like, there should be some sort of restriction that you cannot release DLC for a game that is older than a year. That should not be allowed. Like, there's cases with Sackboy that they keep updating the game 3 years later with DLC, but guess what? It's free. There are so many free cosmetics. They're basically monthly at this point. Every month or other month, there's a new free DLC. Even though it adds nothing to the game, they could have easily charged for it, even though that wouldn't make any sense. If they charged for it, that would be the most scummiest thing, but they don't, which is nice. Like, it's kind of crazy how you appreciate a company for doing the bare minimum. And this game had DLC. I haven't even talked about that either. This game had DLC. This game had so much DLC, from cosmetic DLC, from more mechanic DLC, to... I wish I could show you guys right now, but there is literally a bunch of story DLCs that you could buy that not only give, like, new story content for you to, like, levels for you to play, but also new, like, mechanics and things to play around with in create mode. Like, there was a Muppet DLC for LittleBigPlanet 2, probably my favorite DLC in a game ever, that added gel, like a material that you could place down, and it works towards as like a gravitational pull. And it was so good for levels. It was locked behind DLC, but, you know, that's another thing. The way DLC is priced, there should be a regulation on how DLC is priced as well. Because if a DLC costs more than $20 and it's just cosmetics, then you're doing something wrong. Like, LittleBigPlanet DLC, I feel like, was perfect. There was some free DLC. There was seasonal free costumes, but for like a birthday, like Halloween turkey mask. There was a Santa outfit. There was a World Peace Day outfit, the Halloween outfit. There was so many free DLCs that they gave out, but they also gave out they also had paid DLC, but they never would cost over $10. Like, if you're paying over $15 in cosmetic DLC, then there's a problem. The story DLCs, I don't remember how much they cost. They were more than $10, but that was reasonable because they didn't just stop at extra levels. They stopped at, you also get the tools that they made to make these levels unique. You get those tools too, and you get to play around with them too. So it's a win-win. You get to pay for more DLC to play around with, and you get to play with more, and the company gets money for that. Like, that's how I think they did it so well, and I don't know why that never caught on. Like, developers literally charge you for every fucking thing that you do now. They'll get every penny out of you now. They're like, none of them are, they're so scummy now. And it's not even for extra content either. It's just mostly for cosmetics. But Valve did another Valve W, by the way. The way Valve does it is that it's basically, it's gambling. Yeah, gambling's bad, but they put the prices. The prices are made up by the community. Like, depending on how rare it is, the community decides how much they're worth. And that is so smart. That works so well. Like, the cosmetic systems for TF2 and CSGO work so well. By the way, CSGO didn't come out with, the game didn't launch with skins. It wasn't like TF2. The game had an update that added skins. And it was so genius. It literally changed history. It changed literally the video game industry, how the Steam marketplace worked. And it works so well. Yeah, most of the things on the Steam marketplace are expensive, but if you wanted to, you can invest a certain amount of money and work your way up. Like, the way TF2 works, it works slightly different than CSGO, but because TF2 has its own, like, economy, it has its own currency, it has scrap metal. And there's 3 tiers of scrap metal. There's the scrap metal, there's the second one, and there's refined. And that's basically the currency for buying cosmetics. And you could turn refined into keys. And keys you could use to buy more stuff. It's basically a perfect economy. Like, if they could pull it off, like LittleBigPlanet or TF2 or CS... well, really more of TF2, because CSGO doesn't have, like, a currency. It's just, you buy cases, you buy keys, you buy sticker capsules, you buy knives, you buy whatever you want. It's all purely cosmetic, by the way. There's at any point, if you're paying to win in a game, that's garbage. Like, that should never be a thing. And I remember when everybody was complaining when Overwatch 1 had loot boxes, and everybody was complaining about it, like, oh my god, this is gambling. Why am I paying for a non-guaranteed reward? And then what did they do? They got rid of loot boxes in the second game, and you have to buy everything with pure cash. Most of the things you have in Overwatch 2, you have to buy with money. You can't even buy with the in-game currency. There's literally 2 types of currencies in the game. There's Overwatch coins and there's the credits. And then there's legacy, the legacy things. I don't know I forgot what they're called. And, you know, not many people know there was a LittleBigPlanet 4. LittleBigPlanet 3 was supposed to be free to play. It was going to be free to play. And it never happened. It became... I don't know what happened, but it never happened. It was supposed to be called LittleBigPlanet Hub. They literally released a trailer for it, too, on the PlayStation YouTube channel. But it just never happened, and it turned into LittleBigPlanet 3. Wait, no, I'm wrong. Not LittleBigPlanet 3. What the hell? Wait, was it? No, I don't remember. Oh, shoot. My brain's shutting down! Oh my god, I'm forgetting LittleBigPlanet lore. What the fuck? I have to search this up now. Fuck. Oh, wait, was I right? I can't even tell now. Okay, yeah. Yeah, what was supposed to be LittleBigPlanet Hub, the free-to-play game, became LittleBigPlanet 3. I was right. But I can't imagine how that would have went down. I'm pretty sure it would have been good. Would have been better than LittleBigPlanet 3. But thinking about how... the direction of how free-to-play games work now. I don't know. Every game relies on a battle pass. You have to buy. You have to buy stuff in games in order to get any sort of cosmetic reward now, which kind of sucks. I mean, it doesn't kind of suck. It does suck. Big ass balls. And the thing is with Fortnite, I hate Fortnite like more than anything in the entire world. I literally pray that it dies like every other day, but it doesn't. But the one thing I could give amends to Fortnite for, one of the things I wish the industry took into consideration was how they dealt with their battle pass. Fortnite's battle pass was perfect. Well, I'm not talking about the newer battle pass. I'm talking about the old, like chapter 1 battle pass. Those battle passes were perfect. They were purely cosmetic. They had free tiers. You could get free V-Bucks, but you just had to grind a lot. And eventually, if you grinded out those free tiers for enough seasons, you could eventually buy the pass. And that's how every battle pass should work, but they don't. Developers just don't do that for some reason. Like for Siege does it half-ass. Like, you know, when I'm appreciating a feature about Fortnite, you know that's when it's bad. Why do I keep falling through that platform? Like with Siege, you can buy the battle pass, but you'll only get half of your money back. That doesn't make sense. With COD, even COD does it correctly. If you buy the battle pass, you get more than what you paid for. You get a bunch of cosmetics. You get a shit ton of cosmetics and gun skins and the whole shebang. And you get the same amount that you paid and extra. Why doesn't it work like that for every single battle pass? But nowadays, everybody has a fucking battle pass. Even games that you paid for have battle passes. Like, it makes no sense. It's so stupid. Like, Fortnite did irreversible damage to free-to-play games and to multiplayer games. Because every game has them now, but they don't do the one thing that they did correctly. Now that I think about it, a LittleBigPlanet game with a battle pass would work really well. Because if you think about it, the main thing of LittleBigPlanet is costumes. Like, more than anything, like when I played LittleBigPlanet in like back in 2012, those times, I was only focused on costumes. Like, I made levels, but they were shitty, and they weren't like, you know, these grand projects. Like, I never wanted to like make grand levels. Like, I wanted to make like decent levels, but it was never about like, oh, compared to what other people were making. Definitely not. But yeah, I've always cared about costumes more than anything else. Like, if you could look up the search history, like if that was even possible, if you could look up the search history of the search bar in LittleBigPlanet 2, it would all be costume giveaways. Like, that's what they were all called. They were called costume giveaways, and I was obsessed with those. Like, regular show costume giveaways, Mario and Luigi costume giveaways, Transformers costume giveaways. I was obsessed with those. But the thing is with those, with the cooler looking costumes, they had always, if not all of them, most of the time, they had, oh, come on. They had paid DLC. And I haven't mentioned this yet, but with, if you make a costume with paid DLC, you can't use it. If you don't have that DLC, you can't use it. Like, there's a system implemented that you can't use the costume. Like, even in the moon, when you're making levels, even when you're making levels with friends in the moon, if you can't place down paid paid costumes, paid DLC. Your friend would have to buy them in order for you to even place the paid DLC. And that makes sense. It was kind of poopy. I always try to look for workarounds. There was never any workarounds for it. Well, until now. Until recently, there is, because you could hack the game very easily. But before, when the game was, like, you know, polished, that's just how it was. And I didn't like it, but that's just how it was. So if there was if LittleBigPlanet Hub was a real thing, that would have worked very well. And I don't know why I'm assuming that it would have had a battle pass, because battle passes weren't a thing. Like, has anyone made a history video about battle passes. I'm already on my last life. Wow. I need to watch a history video on battle passes, because what game did it first? I know the first game that I've played was definitely Fortnite and most like other people, but there must have been another game that did like some sort of like level. Wow, that was so dumb. Anyway, it was already at 850, so I only made it like what, halfway through the story. I'm like 2 worlds away, I think. There's the wilderness, oh no. There's the wilderness, the islands. Yeah, the wilderness, the islands, and the final world, the bunker, I think. So I'm 3. I could have, well, whatever. Anyway, I got more than halfway. Oh my god, I completely forgot about this. I completely forgot about this. I have the Game of the Year edition, and the Game of the Year edition has team picked like a handful of community levels that the developers picked. Oh my god. I should have remembered. Oh my god. Well, anyway, I guess I'll do this next time. I mean, might as well beat the game next time I stream, and then do some of these too. If not all of these. I don't think I've ever played. I played some of these, but not all of them. Oh my god. None of these names ring a bell, though. There was one called Epic, Little Bit Meal. Yeah, it's not here. Anyway. Yeah, I think that's it for now. There's all the DLC costumes. Wow. You know, it's been, I don't think I went back to these actually, now I think about it. I didn't go back to the DLC levels. Well, I guess I have a lot to play then next time. Man, this sucks.
From here, you can access the LittleBigPlanet community.
That sucks. Oh yeah, I also have this too. This was a really good DLC pack, the Metal Gear Solid pack. This was such a good collab. Really good. Anyway, that's it I'm gonna do for this stream. Thank you, Xander, for being basically the only one. It says few viewers. I know you lurkers are here. But anyway, thank you whoever's watching now and in the future. Thank you for watching. And I don't know. Oh, Nico too. I forgot about Nico. I was going to stream Undertale today. Crazy fact. I was going to stream Undertale today. I want to replay it, but I don't know. But yeah. I don't know when is the next time I'll stream, because this week is going to be super busy. Wednesday is CS2's release or something. Hopefully. I have an exam on Wednesday. I have another exam on Thursday. And that's not all. Sonic Frontiers DLC 3 is also coming out on the 28th. So this is going to be a pretty eventful week. So yeah. See you whenever, and I will be back with LittleBigPlanet again, because I want to play those community levels and finish the story, obviously. Goodbye. Did I really hit the wrong screen?